Good day, folks, and welcome to another one of our videos that I'm going to be hosting with Ashley. And we're going to be having a chat about where the markets are and what's been happening with Tradefi and a bit on market calls. And what I want to do is just get Ashley to explain a little bit about what's been happening in the markets at the moment and how we see things moving forward. It's been a rather turbulent time over the last few months. There's a lot been going on, as everybody's fully aware, in the crypto market with the ETFs and regulation. I've just been on a blockchain conference for the last 2 days. A lot of interesting things coming out of that as well. The European market is also looking at regulation through the MiCA foundation that they've formed to bring that out. So yeah, there's a hell of a lot going on. So Ashley, what I'd like to do, and welcome, is first to just ask you if you could just share your screen and just give us a brief overview of how you see the market at the moment and what's happening mainly with Bitcoin, because that seems to be what everything's following.
Right. So off the cuff, Malcolm, as you know, we haven't been trading for this period since the whole ETF saga came out. We just, me and some of the groups that I'm part of, everybody just decided that it was a little bit too risky in these uncertain markets, because everything's basically being driven by hype. As I said to you earlier on, there are a few of the YouTube gurus that are always screaming moon and all the the positive stuff, but reality's a little bit different. Obviously, when this whole ETF thing happened, we did take a little bit of a knock, but it's not something that I would class as a huge travesty and something to be concerned about. But what we thought was that sometimes it's better to just sit on the sideline. At least we haven't lost any other money, you know what I'm saying? So we decided that we were not going to trade. It was very uncertain. That Monday morning when everybody woke up, nobody knew that Bitcoin was going to pump to, $34,000. But what I can say is we're a lot certain of what's going to happen in the market, which it's, pretty imminent. And I'm going to show you on the chart. So you can see this chart that I have. We've been looking at this rising wedge. And if you're a seasoned trader or an experienced trader, we know that wedges are normally they're more likely to break to the downside. But what we can see over the weekend, and it's actually been very unsuspecting, because the price normally, if we go to our charts over here, and I'll just show you something. Well, I'm not going to bother to go there right now because I haven't set up for it, but I do have a chart where it basically shows the volatility on weekends as opposed to during the week. And normally weekends are pretty quiet, but you can see this weekend, man, for some reason we've seen once again Bitcoin doing the unexpected. So this is what happens. But so when we take a look at this rising wedge, this pattern now changes from a rising wedge, and you can see I'm going to lift this line here, and we now have a rising channel. But both these patterns, rising channels and rising wedges, are both very bearish patterns. Okay, so whether it's a rising wedge or a rising channel, it doesn't really matter. They are both bearish. And another thing I want to just bring to your attention here, and I'm going to use the RSI divergence indicator. Just come and add this. You can see it has broken a little bit up, right? But we take this divergence all the way from this side, and you can see we've just broken that overbought scenario now. But if we take a line and we take it from there, this bearish divergence is still definitely in play, and you can see we're running it up to the top here. We'll put it just above that line, so you can see massive bearish divergence that is happening on the chart. We see it on the 4-hour, we see it on the daily. So this This is not going to be a correction. There's a big difference between these. And what we need when we look at the market is a proper retracement. Okay, and I'm going to just show you once again. If we take a look at this chart here, this is on a daily, and it's looking at Bitcoin going back all the way to the beginning of the year, right? I actually made a little video the other day and, highlighted what's been going on. So you can see from the beginning of the year, going all the way back to December 2022. So you can see we had the low, then we had a higher high. Well, we had a high, then we had a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And we've seen how the price has basically gone up in this upward trend, bull trend. This is to do with market structure. And you can see this is where we are at the moment, at the top over here, and we're sitting very close to $40,000 in this whole move that we've seen what's happened over the last 6 weeks. From basically down here when Bitcoin was at $26,000, $27,000. We haven't seen any kind of a pullback. I mean, you go and have a look at every time the markets go up, you see over here, there's a pullback. If I can just highlight this for you in 1 second. So you see the market goes up, and then you see a pullback. And the market goes up, and you see a massive pullback. The market goes up, and you see a massive pullback. Now we see the market has gone up, and where's the pullback? We haven't seen a pullback. It's got to happen. So I don't want to go in too much and make a long story of it. The market is expecting a really big pullback, and it's basically imminent. It can happen within probably in the month of December. We are going to see a big pullback in the market. And as I said, if we're going to come from the top of the range, just let's say down to the bottom of the range, and we take it from there to there, you're probably looking at, let's just put a line there. At the worst case scenario, 30, so the worst case scenario, you're looking at in the region of $30,000 to $32,000, which for us is going to be, let's have a look, that's going to be a 19 or a 20% pullback. And we're going to take this trade. So whatever losses we incurred in the beginning or in the middle to end of October, the last month, 6 weeks, say, I mean, all of these will be recovered, and probably, something like, some really good gains will come out of it also. So, yeah, it has delayed this whole ETF nonsense, has kind of delayed things a little bit for us as a trader. None of us likes to, take a step backwards, but this is the nature of the business, and it happens sometimes. So we busy.
I think also, Ashley,
yes,
I think an important thing that everybody needs to take note of that, yes, and especially on the Tradefi side product, yes, people are looking for payouts as we go along, but unfortunately, the markets will do their own thing. And it's very early in the project. We're only at the beginning of the project, and as time goes along, and the markets will move, we'll make up those losses. It's a small amount of time. So I think people need to be patient and understand the importance of patience and the importance of returns over a reasonable period of time. I think that's important to take into account. Just on going with this here now, obviously we're looking at Bitcoin, and but Bitcoin's not the only token that we trade. So could you just give a little explanation? You're looking at Bitcoin here, but Bitcoin obviously won't be the only token you'll be trading. You're looking at other tokens. And could you also show the benefits of trading a couple of tokens and the difference between, say, trading an altcoin to Bitcoin in the profitability of that? Looking at what's happening here with this big market move that we're expecting.
Yes. Well, okay. So, look, we all know that, if Bitcoin moves 20%, altcoins are going to move, 30, 35%. That's just the way it works. And, we can see it. And I will I will debate this with anybody, because we've actually, in the last 6 weeks now, people have said, oh, there's an altcoin season, or the altcoins are doing really well. No, there's been no real altcoin season. The Bitcoin dominance and all the rest of it hasn't really moved much. It has moved a little bit, but it hasn't, not to justify a proper altcoin season. Obviously, we are going to take this trade on Bitcoin, but we're also going to pick another coin, something like Sand. As I said, if you see a 15-20% pullback on Bitcoin, you can be assured that you're going to see a much higher percentage drawback on altcoins. So if Bitcoin moves, comes down 20%, you're probably looking at 25-30% on altcoins, maybe even 35%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position. We are going to open up two positions. We'll open up one Bitcoin short position, and then we'll open up, I'm not 100% if it's going to be Sand or if we are going to trade Matic. It's going to be either one of those two. I'll be opening up short positions. Obviously, we're going to run some pretty tight stops, and also we'll make sure, well, I'm going to do the very best that I can to try and get in as high as I can. So, when we're talking about the price at the moment, let me just take a quick look here and see on Bitcoin, 39,659. I think on Bybit, the highest was 39,894. So it's this little gap between this purple line and the red line. The red is at 40 and the purple is the price on Bybit. But as I said to you before, I'm going to be looking to place short positions above 40,000. Hopefully, if it does go up to 41, 42, I'll try and get in as high as I can. But I would say that, anything above 40,000, 40,500 is going to be a strong entry point. And then we'll do
Actually, can I just comment on that entry point? And I think it's something people maybe also don't understand is, why don't you just quickly get in as the trade's moving down? And I think what people must understand is, if you look in that candle, say there's that big green candle there, it's not one movement. Inside that candle, there's lots of ups and downs. So you can jump in on the way down, and then it could move back up, take you out, and then move back down again. Whereas if you get in at the very top of a wick, the chances are it's not going to get back up there, and you lose it. You reducing your risk of being taken out along the way. So I think a lot of people just see a long wick and think, oh, why don't you just jump in on that and go along with that, without understanding that there's a lot of movement inside those candles within shorter time frames that can basically take you out on your stop loss. So that's why it's important to get that to try and get right at the top of the wick, because you're reducing your chances and you also get more benefit at the end of the day. Would that be a fair assessment?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you'll remember there's a very famous saying in the market. It says, never try and catch a falling knife. And that's exactly what you're talking about. It's highly risky, jumping in on a market entry when the prices are falling, especially when you catch it a little bit too late, because it's so volatile. It goes down and it comes all the way back up and it goes back down again. It doesn't just go down. I mean, if it just went straight down, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Oh, it would be great, yeah.
Just to revise what basically in a nutshell what I've said, we haven't traded over this last 6 weeks, 7 weeks, because there's been too much uncertainty in the market, and because we took a little bit of a knock, I just didn't think it would, for the sake of a few weeks, a month or 6 weeks. I mean, as I said, this whole project, it's a 3-year project. And Malcolm,
Absolutely.
what the guys need to understand, there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs all along the way. There's not a trader out there, whether he's one of the best traders in the world, they follow the roller coaster as well. There's no one that's exclusive and exempt from this type of market behavior. It happens to the best of traders. And sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. That's the way it goes. So even though we did very well in the beginning, we took a little bit of knock. I'm telling you this, you know this, and I want all the guys that have invested, that are, putting their money into this trade. I want them to understand right now, there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs in the next 3 years. Okay, but overall, the record, my track record as a trader, I make money consistently over long periods of time, really good money. And this is the plan. There's nothing's going to change. This is the plan. And I would just say, to all the guys that are out there, just remember, the Bitcoin halving is coming up, the fourth halving, and we will be going into. I don't believe that the bull market has officially begun, because I understand that there's capitulation that's going to be happening before the official bull market happens. We've seen this historically the last 3 times that we've gone into historical bull markets with Bitcoin. We've seen a massive pullback, capitulation. You want to see maybe a black swan event. We saw that happen in 2020 when the COVID story, and then before that, whatever created that one, and the one before. You can go check the charts, and you can go and see the big red candles just before the halving. The point I'm trying to make is that we've got a lot to be excited about, because this project, you guys have put this thing together right basically at the beginning of the next big bull market that's going to be happening. So, I will stand with, my convictions. I know how well we've done in the previous bull markets, and there's absolutely no reason why we won't do well again. But, as I said, not to repeat myself, we've got to understand that we've got to take the good with the bad. It's not just always trade. Sometimes the markets are not good for trading.
And then actually, just to wind off, I just wanted to talk a little bit about market calls. We've been having a lot of success. There's a lot going on in the market calls, a lot of excitement in the group, a lot of chatter and that. And I think if you could just have a quick show through of the market calls. So yeah, just the first thing is, guys, for those of you who have a foundation NFT, we're giving you 2 weeks. We just increased it to 2 weeks, where you'll get 2 weeks for free in the market calls. You can come in there, join the chat, take those calls, hopefully make some money, and you can cover your membership for the year, as some people did in their first few days of joining the market calls. They managed to cover the training. It's also give you a good idea to see what's happening in the market calls. And well, it's something you don't understand completely, that you can go and do the crypto trading course and then join the market calls. And we've got a couple of guys who've done the crypto trading course or busy working on it and have joined the market calls. And it also helps them make a lot more sense. They can even use the test net if you don't know anything about it, and start playing with those calls and seeing how they work, so you don't have to use real money. But the best is to do the course first if you're new to trading. And again, it comes down to this whole principle of what at Bridge DeFi we believe in, is empowering you to be able to earn your own income, or so if you were to lose your job or something were to happen, you have something to fall back on, that you have the knowledge to know how to trade or to be able to support yourself. And that's where we'd like people to be. So there's a great opportunity for that. So Ashley, if you could just give us a little quick breakdown on how the market calls has been going and what's been happening.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we don't have many people that are obviously in the group, but we've got 2 of the students that have actually done the crypto trading course, Morena and Dominic, and both of them have actually recovered all the money that they spent on their course and for the market calls, and they've both paid for like yearly subscriptions, and they've already made back the money that they spent on their courses and whatever. And it just shows, that it's not just, market calls are not just, how can I put this? It's not just for, the individual that's maybe learned to trade on YouTube, using YouTube videos and stuff like that. And then you come along and you join this group or a group, because there's loads of groups out there, market calls groups, people offering service where they're all proclaiming to be, we're good and we give you and we tell you exactly. Anyway, there's loads of them. And why I think that this particular group works well with because what actually happens is if you do the study course, that's kind of the theory side of it. And then by joining and doing the market calls, it's almost that becomes the practical side, because we know, Malcolm, you know this as well. In order to become a trader, you can learn the theory, but it's almost like becoming a musician. If you want to learn to play the piano, first thing you're going to do is learn to understand music. And once you understand music and how to, the shapes and the chords and the names and the symbols and all the rest of it, now you have to practice. And trading is very, very much the same. I mean, you can go and learn all you can about indicators and charts and trend lines and all the rest of it. At some stage, you need to put it all into practice. And this is where the crypto trading course, and it works in tandem with the market calls, actually works beautifully together, because on the one hand, you're getting the theory part of it, you're learning, all the theoretical side about trading and the psychology and how to read the charts and all that. And then by joining the market calls, you're working with the same group and you're practicing all of that you learn, which is just, it's phenomenal. It's fantastic. And, we've got, like I said, we've got 2 students already that have both done exactly that. And the beauty about the whole thing is that you're making money while you're learning. And I think that's the important thing, And by being part of the group, you're part of a group where you can ask questions and you're not alone, you know what I mean? You're part of something that you can work together as a team. And, it's much better for anybody who wants to trade to be part of a group than end up, sitting there in your office, in your home, or wherever it is, in front of your computer and trying to do everything on your own. So yeah, it's really great.
That's a huge benefit. That, and just guys, just to mention as well that Ashley does keep his most days keeps the general chat, voice chat open, so you can always hop on and ask questions or join it. There's normally a few people in there all chatting, and it's quite vibrant. And I join a lot of them, but unfortunately, as Ashley knows, my time is spent on getting Bridge DeFi and other projects we're working on in and around Bridge DeFi up and going. So time is very tight for me in getting, but I'm still joining those chats because I know that I need to keep my trading going. And actually, my last week, I'm about 10% up on the little time that I do spend that I have available for trading. So I'm doing well on that as well. So yeah, come and join that and get in on those chats when you can and ask questions and drop in a chart. Nobody's going to go like, oh, your chart is ridiculous. Don't be, they're going to look at it and say, well, why don't you think about this? Have a look at that. There's no judgment in what you're doing. It's just all about making sure that we all succeed together.
Yeah, you know what they say. There's no stupid questions, only stupid answers. So if I just show you, if this is what I normally try and do every day, Malcolm, you obviously know, but for the benefit of your listeners, so we open up a chat here, and I every day I'll come on and I'll at least do a live technical analysis for a couple of hours at least. And when the markets are busy, then we can end up, the chat stays open for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. But, we open something like that and we go create, and then you'll have the chat. And normally what I do is I end up sharing my screen, and it basically it allows people to come on, even if you don't say anything, but you can come on and you can watch what's happening as far as technical analysis is concerned, and how I'm laying out the trades and all the rest of it. So it's really handy. It's really, really cool, and it makes a big difference. Also, as far as how well we've done this month, look, Malcolm, we haven't taken really big trades. We've done quite a few trades on the altcoins. We haven't failed many. In actual fact, if we come here to the VIP signals P&L, this is the profit and loss. You can see Steer, we got stopped out the other day. Bond, it didn't go to the targets that we were hoping for, but all of these trades were actually in a certain amount of profit. Some of them did pretty good. Some of them we climbed out early, but I would say that 90% of the trades we got correct. Out of all
Actually,
of them.
I think the interesting thing on that, though, Ashley, is you say we didn't make much, but I think in reality, I mean, I got in a couple of those trades. There was the sand one, and there were a couple of other ones that I got into. And I got out, but I still was making 25%, 30%.
Yeah.
Who can, and that's in a couple of days, who can sneeze at that? I mean, go and get that in your bank. That's not going to happen.
Exactly.
So, it might not be. So I think when we talk about we're not doing the doubles or what, yeah, you're not going to get that every time. But if you look at those trades there that you did on that bond, that 20.5%, I mean, that's a very nice profit.
Yeah, that's right. And you can see the one before sand was 32%. And then bond again, the one before was 16.9. And like I said, you can look at all of them. Some of them, I mean, there's a BTC one that we took a price, we took a quick profit on target one, which is 25%. And, like I said, you can see, was one, sand, that did really, really well. That was on the 21st of November. So not too long ago, you can see that one did 103%. And then there was something, a render did 108%. Tier, we took 124% on tier. We're reaching third. That was also when we on the 24th November the 21st. So we didn't do too bad.
I think you did generally extremely good. I think, if you look at it, and I think it's what's important if people come in there, they can also look at how you manage your trades and knowing when to take profit. I know, that's a big thing that everybody comes and says, don't be greedy, take profit, take profit. And make sure you're always up. It's better to be 5% up than 5% down, but we'd all like to be 100% up, but those will happen. So yeah, I think in essence, so I think the market calls and the crypto trading course are up and running and working great. Tradefi is moving along at I would think pretty much maybe a little bit slower than we expected, but that was because of unforeseen circumstances, and I think it will pick up. It's a long road, and we're going to be well up because things do normalize over time. So in general, I think we've got great products out there, and we really would like people to take advantage of the market calls. So those who've got foundation NFTs, and come and join us for 2 weeks and come and see what you're doing. And, maybe you can make enough money to pay for your year subscription, or you can see what it involved in getting to know how you can basically secure a future for yourself if something were to happen to you, and you got the knowledge to be able to do something else. And that's what it's all about. Education for us is everything. So, yeah, I don't know, Ashley, if there's anything else you'd like to mention before we close off. I think it's been quite a long video, so I think at this stage, is there anything else you'd like to mention before we go?
Malcolm, just in closing, when you're talking about Tradefi, I think the important thing to realize about the Tradefi project is that what's happened in the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks with the whole ETF thing. If you go back to 2018, the whole thing actually happened. It's not the first time that the market has gone through this ETF saga. If you remember with the Winklevoss brothers going back in 2018, I think it was, that Bitcoin went through this whole saga. And okay, then things are a little bit different now than what they were before. But it also ended up in tragedy where Bitcoin had this massive pullback because the ETFs weren't approved. That. The long story short, just in closing, what I'm trying to say is that people must remember that every now and then the market kind of hands out kind of these abnormal events that happen that can cause a lot of instability in the market. This has been one of those events with the ETF. But I just want people to understand that when the dust settles and the markets go back to somewhat kind of normality, trading becomes a lot easier, because when you're trading a stable market, You know, things are not quite as chaotic as what this is what we need to do is experienced traders know when to trade and when not to trade. So that's just my little 2 bits worth just in closing, just so that you guys can remember that it won't always be like this. We are going into a period now where the ETF hype and the novelty and everything slowly waning, it's wearing off. And I do believe that we'll go back into a little bit of normality again, which is going to give us a chance to get ahead again. And, you know, all I say is just be patient, guys. The good times are yet to come. So just hang in there. Obviously, I'm doing everything I can from my side to obviously boost the trading, the DeFi project. But like I said, you know, I'm just got to be patient. I'm going to be sensible, and things will come to pass. So, yeah, that's all I've really got to say. And thanks very much, Malcolm.
Yeah, excellent, Ashley. And I think you make such good points there. And yeah, we're very happy to have what we're doing in your hands and working with you. It's always a pleasure. And thanks everybody for listening and taking part in this video. If you've got any questions, just put them on the chat, whether it be in Discord or in Telegram, and we'll get back to you and answer your questions. And yeah, all good for the future. Thanks a lot.
Right.
Cheers,
Okay.
Ashley.